So this is what we understood, that we will first find out the world space position of the vector or fragment, and then we will negate it from the world space camera position. So that is exactly what we are going to do in our shader. So it's a float 3 value, which we will call world space view direction, and it will be underscore world space camera position minus world space position of the vector, or we will just call it world position. We have not calculated the world position so far, so we will have to calculate the world position as well. So it will be a float 3 world pose is equals to, we will multiply the vertex position with underscore object to world matrix, and v dot position is the second parameter. So this will give us world position, and then we will negate it from the world space camera position, and finally, because we are using this direction in the calculation of the light, we will normalize it. So this will give us world space view direction that we can pass as a parameter to the function. Specular color is the RGB channel of the specular map, and the specular map property that we defined in the user defined variable, and we defined it in the property section, we will copy that and we will paste it here. Attenuation, we have already declared it for the diffuse, and we will consider it as 1. We can completely ignore it, but for the sake of the equation that we understood, we will keep it in our shader. Specular factor and specular power are the two variables that we don't have yet. If we want to provide control of these two variables to the user, we will declare them as properties. So we will copy this line here, specular factor and specular power. We will go to the properties section. We will add underscore specular factor, and it will be specular percentage as we defined for the diffuse. This will be a range value from 0, 1, and by default it is 1. Similarly, for the specular power, we will label it as specular power. It will be a float value, and by default the value of specular power is 100. Now we can delete this line and copy these two lines and declare them in the user defined section, user defined variable section. So uniform float specular power. Now let's use them and pass these two properties to our function. Specular factor and specular power. Let's save it and see if we get any error. So there is one error in line 12, which is it's lacking one parenthesis. Save it again, go back to our Unity. So the compilation error has gone. but we are not sure yet that the code that we have written in the lighting underscore word is correct yet or not. So we will open the scene that we created for the diffuse lighting. We will select the mesh and choose the shader that we have just written. So as soon as we switch to the vertex